Let's not mess around here and reach into our honesty glands and start being truthful. We all want to be Triple H guys and gals, of course we do. For starters, what a mind trip that would be, and secondly, it probably means you're a really good pro wrestler. The game doesn't waste his time with losers, he only wants the best of the best. It certainly doesn't guarantee success when you get to the main roster, but I bet it doesn't hurt, and if nothing else, the input that man can give you. Come on now, there's few better sources of knowledge and backing you can ask for. If Hunter Hearst Helmsley ever patted me on the back and said, "Good job, kid," I would burst out crying because I'd be so happy. What a dream to achieve, what a life I would lead. I'm Simon from WhatCulture, and this is 10 current WWE stars who are Triple H guys. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to stay notified. Ding, ding, done. Number 10, Shinsuke Nakamura. Shinsuke Nakamura was drafted in by Triple H for two reasons. He was easily the coolest and one of the finest talents on the planet, but it was also firing a shot against New Japan, who continued to get bigger and bigger, especially in the States. Plus, he was a draw and would serve perfectly as the next generation of NXT performers. He was a get for WWE no matter how you looked at it. Unsurprisingly, Nakamura lived up to the incredible hype. His debut match with Sami Zayn at TakeOver Dallas both started a new chapter for NXT, while also introducing the King of Strong Style to a brand new audience. If you didn't know who he was, seeing him beat the crap out of Zayn, he even delivered a leaping knee to the back of his bloody head, was a pretty good idea in what you could expect. Since his promotion to the main roster, Nakamura has had an interesting ride. Really should have won the title from AJ Styles at one point, but his heel work is still an absolute joy, and there's every chance Triple H has been a major factor with all of this. His future remains bright, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. Number 9, Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe's WWE adventure is just crazy. Initially signed to appear on NXT exclusively, as Triple H aimed to make developmental a unique brand in its own right, there were few acts better to help with that than Joe. He worked his ass off to get there and more often than not could convince you that he actually wanted to murder someone. Joe also helped build NXT as well as throw out some of his best performances in years. He became so good, the idea that he would never leave Full Sail was thrown out the window, and he made his Raw debut in 2017 as he destroyed Seth Rollins' knee. From here, the Samoan one has been almost untouchable. His integrity has remained intact throughout his entire run, and even the writers seem terrifying of giving anything bad. He's never miscast, never says anything he wouldn't. Joe demands to be taken seriously and is terrifyingly intense from start to finish. So basically, Joe is bulletproof no matter what happens from this point on. He's a testament to Triple H's acumen and an indictment of Vince McMahon understanding what a good piece of talent is made of. Number 8, Asuka. The sight of the former Kanya in the crowd at the inaugural TakeOver Brooklyn just showed what NXT was all about and that wrestling was changing. For too long, there had been a very specific set of tick boxes for women that would make their way to the WWE, which left Triple H, a fan of pro wrestling, to change all of that by hiring an awe-inspiring pro wrestler who could tear it up with anyone. It's a shame what's happened to her since she's arrived on the main roster, but with that said, maybe it's just nice she's there to begin with when you consider what the status quo used to be. Hopefully she will be given a high billing at Evolution, the all-women's pay-per-view, because she's been an absolute pivotal part of all of that and should be given the chance to have an awesome match with someone as a fierce reminder of what she's able to do. She only needed the opportunity, which was presented to her thanks to Triple H, because she is indeed, wait for it, a Triple H guy. Number 7, Charlotte Flair. More so than any other member of the Four Horsewomen, Charlotte Flair is a Triple H guy. You could put that down to the fact she's the daughter of the game's best friend and hero Ric Flair, but really it's because Charlotte is one of the best women wrestlers that has ever stepped foot in a WWE ring. She has earned her push and rise no matter who her father is, having wrestled a genuine classic at the first ever TakeOver versus Natalya, and her body of work on the main roster is as good as anyone's you can think of. What's telling is that Flair is capable of pulling out decent matches from all opponents spanning several eras. There was Nikki Bella at Hell in a Cell 2015, Paige at TLC in the same year, Sasha Banks on Raw in November 2016, and Asuka at WrestleMania 34. Given that she's only 32 years of age, it's not at all unrealistic to expect Charlotte to continue this for some time to come. Her character work is also equally impressive, and while better as a heel, she still knows how to get some sympathy as a face. Vicious, aerobatic and powerful, Charlotte is her own wrestler these days, because she rocks. Number 6, Ricochet. Triple H has been after Ricochet for ages. Arriving in Orlando early in 2018, Trips may have been more excited to get his man than the fans who regularly make the journeys to the weekly NXT shows. For example, he was so desperate to get that now famous picture with new talent out there onto social media, he did it before a round of TV tapings from the gorilla position. There's no two ways about it, Triple H was excited to have this guy on his books, and really, It's just lovely. Those who weren't aware of the man's supernatural agility were left similarly giddy at TakeOver New Orleans, where Ricochet, in his very first on-screen action, pulled off one of the most jaw-dropping feats in WWE's incredible ladder match history. Go and watch it now. That was just a start, as on NXT TV, he also flipped over the ropes simply to get in the Velveteen Dream's face, and if you weren't sure how awesome he was at that stage, you just weren't watching. He's as unique as he is talented. That's just the effect this guy seems to have on people though, which includes his boss. Ricochet can do things no one else can and does them so effortlessly, for he is awesome. Number 5, Adam Cole. I bet every time Adam Cole shouts his name on NXT TV, Triple H, at his position in the back, instantly just screams out, "Baby!" You can just see it in the game's eyes. Triple H made sure to point out Cole's charisma and sublime character during an interview with ESPN conducted earlier this year, and that was no accident. He also pushed hard that Cole would be a huge success on the main roster, and the praise for the former ROH champion just kept on coming. He even confirmed that Cole has a, and I quote, very big role to play in the coming years. It's also telling that the North American title followed so soon after Cole's arrival. He's a magnet for everything, and Triple H realizes that he has the potential to be a huge draw, hence why he's treated like a star and has nothing but positive words for the guy who has seen and done it all. Future world champion? Triple H has his way. Definitely. Number 4, Ronda Rousey. Triple H's belief in Ronda Rousey was unshakable, and now it's hard to argue. He was 100% right. Ronda is awesome. She's also representative to the fact that Hunter has all the tools to be a creator as well as have an eye for talent. The constant line has always been that Trips picks up the most adored indie names there is and he just drafts them into NXT. They are all proven and were always going to shine to some extent. They knew what to do. That does not describe the former UFC champ. Respected journalists and insiders questioned her ability to develop in pro wrestling, and some even said she would fail. And yet Triple H did know what he was doing, because even though Ronda is still developing, she's also absolutely thriving. The rate at which Rousey accelerates around the ring is just madness, and on the evidence we have so far, she'll have no problem becoming an absolute awesome simulation fighter, much as she did for real in the Octagon. She's credible, can sell, and is frightening when she wants to be. She may have skipped NXT, but is still a bona fide product of the Performance Center. Number 3, Tommaso Ciampa. Tommaso Ciampa is interesting because he has become a Triple H guy by just being absolutely amazing. Not signed to much fanfare as others have done before and since, Ciampa was initially brought in just to make up the field when it came to the inaugural Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. There, he teamed up with one Johnny Gargano. From here though, an awesome late 2015 bout with Samoa Joe proved that he was every bit as good as his celebrated peers, and a full-time offer followed shortly thereafter. Ciampa then dragged pro wrestling back into the modern day by restoring 2 long diminished roles in WWE. Not only was he a tag team specialist, but he was also a genuinely despised heel. The formation and falling apart of DIY was the best storytelling we'd seen in WWE for years, and the critical acclaim that followed was much deserved. And he looks the part if nothing else. You could buy the fact that he is actually a psycho killer, and he's ripped. Ciampa is dedicated to becoming the best and lives to be an absolute prick. NXT is Ciampa right now, and he's not just Triple H's new man, but the man overall. Number 2, Seth Rollins. Let's not muck around here. It's been clear for a while that Roman Reigns was a Vince McMahon guy, and good for him. That's his job, and if he thinks Roman is the guy, go for it. Well, you did. Regardless what's next, Reigns will always be part of Vince's plans. On the flip side, Seth Rollins is Triple H's Roman, the very first NXT champion and his off-screen and on-screen protege. Better still, Rollins has also restored that faith every step of the way. Adept at playing the cackling heel or the explosive crowd-rousing babyface, Seth is a protected and important fixture of WWE main roster programming, and one of its few constant highlights. He almost guarantees a very good match whenever he's out there, and you're able to watch him knowing that buying into what he is isn't a waste of your time, because he's not just going to vanish for no good reason. Given where he currently is too, there's every chance he rides his current momentum to become a permanent main event fixture, all while Triple H sits in the background smiling away at the journey Seth has been on. It's hard to say that he doesn't deserve it. Number 1, Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens was not a WWE guy, which is what makes it all the more wonderful that he is where he is today. Not having the typical look the company went after, Owens was also labelled as an indie dude, as if that was some kind of insult. Kevin was basically seen as the epitome of independent wrestling and therefore would never be allowed to walk the hallowed halls of WWE, till Triple H realised that he was an excellent performer who could talk with the best of them, no matter what position you put him in. He tore it up in NXT, and while his main roster ride has been a roller coaster, there's no two ways about it. Owens is an integral part of the product, and if he walked out tomorrow, a huge hole would be left in the foundations. And sure, you can argue that the company needs needs to do more with the man, and I doubt any of us would mind that, but much like the others on this list, the fact he is there to begin with is just a delight. KO took the rulebook and he threw it out the window and proved that you can be a success up north if you've got what it takes.